Hello everyone. In the last lecture we have seen about early nationalists and their demand. Now let us today discuss their method of achieving their demand. So the method, popularly known as constitutional agitation method, was followed by early nationalists. So their method was constitutional agitation method. They believe in the pulling of constitutional agitation within the legal framework and slow, orderly political progress. The method adopted by early nationalists has two objectives. So here, their method was constitutional agitations. So they are doing agitations in front of the British government and try to convey them their problems and get the solution. Now their objectives are: first set of method. Their first objective was to educate people in India in modern politics, to arouse national political consciousness and to create a united public opinion. For this purpose, they relied on the following method. So, the first purpose was that they want to create political consciousness among the people. And for that, what they done? They held meeting where speeches were made and resolutions of popular demand were passed. So for this, they are conducting meetings. They are conducting meetings. They are giving speeches, and they are making resolutions for popular demand to be passed. They made use of press to criticize the government policies, and they sent memorandum and petitions to the government officials and to British Parliament. These petitions were carefully drafted with the fact and argument. Though these petitions were addressed to the government, their real aim was to educate the Indian people. So this is how they are trying to educate the Indian people about national politics, about national political consciousness. Second set of method, the second objective of the early nationalists was to influence the British government and the British public. To achieve the objective, they followed the following method. So first objective was that they wanted to create a political consciousness among the Indian people, and the second objective was they want British government and British public to be influenced by them. They understand the problems of Indian, right, and resolve it. So for this, they made use of 3 P's, that is the petition, prayers and protest. They sent petitions, requests and letters to protest to the British government to look into the problem of the Indians. A British committee of the Indian National Congress was set up in London in 1889, which published a weekly journal, India Present India's Case, before the Britain public or British public. So in this view, a British Committee of Indian National Congress was set up. They set up a Indian National Congress committee in Britain, in London specifically we say, in 1889, and they publish a weekly journal in which they present India's case before the British public. So what is the situation of Indians? It was published in that weekly journal. Deputation of Indian leader were sent Britain. These political leaders carried active propaganda in Britain. So leaders from India, they go in Britain and there they propagate the problems of Indians. For example, Dadabhai Naoroji spent a major part of the life in Britain to create awareness among the British people and politicians about the plight of Indians. So here an example how Dadabhai Naoroji, he spent more time in Britain and there he was creating awareness about the conditions of Indians in front of the British. Now let us discuss what they achieve. What is the achievement of early nationalist? The early nationalists represented the most progressive force of the time. They made the following contribution to the Indian national movement. The early nationalists created national awakening among the people that they belong to one common country, India. This made Indians conscious of the bonds of common political, economic, and cultural interest that united them. So, this was the first achievement. The early nationalists created a national awakening among the people, right? So, everyone, like Indians, they start feeling that they are part of one country, they belong to one common country, that is India. And this made Indian conscious of the bond of common political, economic, and cultural interest that united them. The early nationalists trained people in politics by popularizing the idea of democracy, civil liberties, secularism, and nationalism. So they also trained people, they explained people about politics, they popularized politics, they made people understand politics. By popularizing the idea of democracy, they make people understand what is democracy, what is civil liberties, what is secularism and nationalism. Early nationalists did pioneering work by exposing the true nature of British rule in India. They made people realize the economic content and character of British imperialism. By doing so, they weakened the foundation of British rule in India. So the early nationalists did pioneering work by exposing the true nature of the British rule in India. So they exposed true nature of British. They exposed that what Britishers are doing in India, how they are exploiting India. They made people realize the common economic content and character of British imperialism. By doing so, they weakened the foundation of British rule in India. So as people now are aware that what Britishers are doing in India, how they are weakening, how they are making Indian economy poor, okay, how they are exploiting this Indian economy. They aware people about this, and by doing so, they weaken the foundation of British rule in India. The political and economic programs established the truth and that Indian must be ruled in the interest of Indians. Their political and economic programs established the truth that India must be ruled in the interest of Indians. So their political and economical programs, they made clear that the rulers of India should work in the interest of Indians. The effort of early nationalists led the following reform: the appointment of Public Service Commission in 1886. So these are the reforms that happened because of their work. First, the appointment of Public Service Commission in 1886. This Public Service Commission, what is their job? Their job is to conduct exams for the recruitment in administrative services. Second, a resolution of House of Commons for simultaneous examination for the ICS in London and India. Third, appointment of Wilbey Commission on Indian expenditures. So a commission was appointed to understand how the Indian money is utilized, how the expenditure is happening. And fourth, the Indian Council Act of 1892. These achievements of early nationalists served as a base for national movement in later years. So these achievements what this early nationalist made, this was become the base for later years, for the national movement of later years. These early nationalists, they are also criticized. Okay, they are also criticized for some of their work. So let us see the criticism of early nationalists. The early nationalists have been criticized on the following ground: the method used by early nationalists of passing resolution and spending petitions were criticized as inadequate. So the method what they adopted, that they are filing petitions, okay, and they are passing resolutions. So it was said that this is not enough, it is inadequate. They depended on the generosity of the British instead of relying on their own strength and challenging the imperialist might. So we have seen that they are more dependent on Britishers. They are requesting Britishers. They are filing petitions to the Britishers. So they are dependent on Britishers. They are dependent on generosity of the Britishers instead of relying on their own strength. So they are not relying on their strength that they can fight Britishers. So this is also criticized. They fail to realize that British and Indian interest clashed with each other. So this early nationalist again they fail to understand that interest of Britishers and Indians are different, totally different as far as economics is concerned. Britain was using Indian resources to increase its wealth. So why Britishers came here? They came here to increase their wealth, not to do some benefit to the Indians. So this fact was not completely understood by the early nationalist, and the early nationalist failed to draw the masses into the mainstream of national movement. So again one more problem was that they are not able to generate the mass movement. The whole country is not behind them. Their area of influence was limited to urban educated Indians. So who are influenced by these early nationalists? So the urban population, educated population, they are influenced, they are understanding that what these people are doing. In particular, their leadership was confined to professional group such as lawyer, doctor, journalist and teachers. Now let us discuss the official attitude towards the Congress. What are the thinking of the Britishers in relation to this Congress? In the beginning, the British government looked upon the Congress movement with favor. So initially, British government think that the movement of Congress is in their favor. In fact, a few government officials attended the first sessions of the Congress and took part in its deliberations. So initially, British officials they are also taking part in this Congress activities. The Congress members were invited to the garden party by the Viceroy Lord Dufferin in Calcutta in 1886 and the Governor of Chennai in 1887. So they are also invited by British what we can say that viceroys and governors. But the official attitude soon changed. Lord Dufferin tried to divert the national movement by suggesting to Hume that the Congress should devote itself to the social rather than political affairs. But soon these Britishers they understood that the Congress is not working in their favor. So for this Lord Dufferin, once he suggested Hume that they should focus on social affairs, they should not involve in political affairs. However, instead of being a tool in the hands of authorities, the Congress gradually became the focus of Indian nationalism. But slowly, this Congress party it became the focus of Indian nationalism. Means they start focusing on Indian nationalism rather than only the social evils. In 1887, Lord Dufferin attacked the National Congress in his speech and ridiculed it as representing only the microscopic minority of the people. So in 1887, Lord Dufferin he attacked on the National Congress. He given his speech, and his speech he tried to explain people that this Congress party is working only for the microscopic minority. Means to a small group of people they are working for. British officials criticized the National Congress and branded its leader as disloyal babus and violent villains. So these British officials they start criticizing the National Congress and they start branding them as they are disloyal babus. They are disloyal babus. You cannot trust them, and they are violent villains. In 1890, the government employees were forbidden from participating in the Congress deliberations or attending its meeting. In 1890, then government start asking their employees not to attend the Congress deliberations. So they forbidden from participating in the Congress deliberations or attending its meetings. Realizing that growing unity in the Indian posed a major threat to their rule, the British pushed further the policy of divide and rule. So Britishers they afraid that if the Indians unite, then what will happen to their rule? So they start playing again the dirty game of divide and rule. They encouraged Sayyid Ahmad Khan, Raja Shiva Prasad of Banaras, and other pro-British individuals to start an anti-Congress movement. So they promoted these peoples that they start anti-Congress movement. Okay, they wanted to destroy this Congress. They showed seed of communalism between the Hindus and Muslims on one hand, and between Indian masses and their leaders on the other hand. So they showed the seed of communalism between Hindus and Muslims. So they create differences, we can say that, between Hindus and Muslims. Hindus and Muslims who are united, now they are fighting with each other. Similarly, they create differences between the leaders and the mass population. They followed a policy of granting minor concessions to put down the growth of nationalism. So to stop nationalism, they started giving some concessions. They are giving some benefits to the people so that this national movement will destroy. However, their policy of repression and hostility made the Congress more powerful. But all these activities of Britishers, where they are trying to suppress this Indian National Congress, okay, it made this Congress more powerful. So let us stop here. In the next class, we will discuss about few prominent leaders from this early nationalist. Thank you.